Good morning. Namaste to each of you. Thank you for joining me this morning to honor your mind and your body and your spirit. Let's just take a few moments to become comfortable in your seat. Find a nice, comfortable seated position on your cushion or blanket or block, where your back can sit nice and tall, elongating your spine, the back of your neck, opening up your chest, opening up your diaphragm, and opening up your heart. Gently close your eyes and soften your thoughts. Soften your eyes. Soften your shoulders. Soften your heart. Observe your breath as it is, soft and gentle, breathing life into you with each inhale and relaxation with each exhale. Feel the grace of being present, returning to that awareness again and again. You may open your eyes now. For this morning's intention, you may think of a positive word or phrase to have with you on your mat, or perhaps carry with you throughout the day. This morning's intention I'd like to talk about is pause and replenish. Winter is a time to honor the natural stillness of the outer world and give ourselves permission to pause and replenish. There is a Danish, Norwegian term or word, Hygge, that speaks to this intention, especially this time of year. It describes a mood or feelings of coziness and well-being. It's taking time away from the daily rush to be together with people you care about, or even by yourself, to relax and enjoy life's quieter pleasures. So for this morning's pranayama, I'd like to talk about a technique that's about pause. It's called Kumbahka. And Kumbahka is the practice of staying with and expanding the natural pause between inhalations and exhalations. And when you expand that natural pause, the body-mind becomes still and clear. So what we're gonna do is just start with an awareness of your breath. Just start breathing and incorporate the complete breath, but without a lot of effort. Just make sure that your breath is more than just up in your chest area. Bring it all the way down to your stomach if you can. And just observe that for a few moments and really focus on the inhalation, the top of it, and the exhalation, the bottom of it, and really kind of be aware of those 2 points. So just take a few moments to do that. Now I ask you to add a few counts at the top of the inhalation and at the bottom of the exhalation. So when you reach the top of the inhalation, pause for 1 or 2 counts or more if it's comfortable for you. What you just want to do is pause. You don't want to hold your breath, but just maybe 2 is a good number to try to start out with. And then at the bottom of the exhalation, just pause for 2 counts. So let's do that. And that's the Kumbahka. Very soothing breath. You can return to your natural breath now. For our meditation this morning, I invite you to replenish your meditation practice with Hygge. And Hygge, there's a lot that's written about what defines Hygge and what elements that you need to have to incorporate Hygge into your life. And again, it's mostly a feeling or a mood that is created. And some of those things that help you to feel or create would include candles, soft music, aromatherapy, perhaps cedar or sandalwood for grounding, or lavender for relaxing. Embrace what makes you feel good and cozy while you're doing your meditation. Maybe putting a nice, comfortable blanket over you just to keep warm and cozy. But just think of things while you're meditating that would make you feel cozy. You can run out and get a candle, aromatherapy, or a blanket right now if you like, but if you do have an additional meditation practice, maybe this time of year, incorporating a few of those items will just make it feel extra special and give you extra replenishment. So let's just take a few moments. You could do the Kumbahka breath during this, or just a regular breath, your favorite mudra. Just make it your own. Feel replenished by your meditation practice. And I'll meet you on the mat. Okay, come open your eyes now and we'll start our asana practice. We'll start with a few stretches of the neck and head. So be in your nice, comfortable seated position with your spine, back of your neck nice and long. And we're just going to drop our head down to look down toward the mat, toward the floor. Really gently stretch out the back of the neck there. Then inhale, lifting your eyes and sending your gaze up so that it's above the treetops, not straight up to the ceiling. So just kind of at an angle that you envision looking at the tops of trees. And then exhale, lower your head, looking down toward your mat, stretching out your neck. Inhale, lifting up to the tops of the trees. And then exhale, lowering down. Inhale, lift your head up. And then bring it back to neutral spot. And just check in, have your spine, back of your neck nice and long. I'm going to gently turn our head to the left side and just come to that sweet spot. Don't overextend your neck and send your gaze off to the left. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, send your gaze gently over to the right. Inhale, come back to center. We'll do that one more time on each side. Exhale over to the left. Inhale back to center and exhale over to the right. Inhale back to center. And then we'll do just a few circles using our nose as our drawing circle, our drawing pen. So just gently take your nose and draw a nice circle. You don't have to have it be too big. Maybe a spiral where you start small and make it a little larger as you go. And then pause and we'll reverse that circle, drawing the other way. And then come back to your neutral position. We'll do a few shoulder shrugs, gently inhaling, lifting your shoulders up toward your ears, and then exhaling, sending them down toward the mat. Inhaling, lifting up, exhaling, sending them down. And keep your shoulders very relaxed. Breathing a lot of nourishing breaths into them as you inhale and exhale. And then reverse the direction and really work to have it be a relaxed movement. And then bring your fingertips to the sides of the mat. We'll do a few sun breaths. So inhaling, lifting your hands up. Deep, deep inhale through your nose, and then sending your hands down with a deep exhale through your nose. Just really synchronize your breath with the movement of your hands. You could go as fast or as slow as you'd like. And then I'll meet you with your fingertips on the mat. We'll do a few side bends. So we're going to take our right fingertips, move them out away from us, but keeping them on the mat, lifting our left arm up along our ear, and then we're going to bend our right elbow down toward the mat and tip over to the right side. Use your right hand as support. Find that sweet spot where your breath is still flowing nice and evenly. And then come back up. Bring both hands down. We'll do that on the other side. So extend your fingers away from you on the left side. Lift your right arm up alongside of your right ear. And then bend your left elbow toward the mat, tipping over to the left side. Just to the point of that sweet spot where you're still breathing nice and evenly. And then bring your both fingertips back down to the mat. In the seated position, if your legs are crossed, you could set them side by side with your right leg in front of your left leg. So they're sitting side by side, not crossed like that. We're going to do a forward fold. So we're going to walk our fingertips out in front of us. And you do this slowly and come to that sweet spot again where your breath is flowing nice and evenly. And when you get to that sweet spot, just pause and take in some deep breaths. And then gently walk your hands back. Upright seated position. We'll swap out legs so that your left foot is in front of your right foot, side by side. And then we'll gently walk our hands out and come into that forward fold again. And finding that sweet spot and then pausing. And then sending a lot of deep breaths in and out of your nostrils, replenishing. Really stretching that back spine. And then walk your hands back. We'll come up into tabletop. We'll come up onto your hands and knees. And tabletop has your wrist right below your shoulders. Fingers are spread out. Index finger pointing to the top of the mat. Weight is distributed evenly in the hands, slightly pushing down so you can create that space between your shoulders and your ears. Navel's tucked to your spine. Knees are right below your hips. And we're going to send our left leg out and back, keeping that even distribution of weight in our hands. Sending our toes all the way to the bottom of the mat. And then we're going to bring our left toes over to the right side of the mat. So we're crossing over our right leg and bringing it outside the mat. And then we're going to gently turn our head to look toward our left toes. Toes being one of the 9 drishti points. And then bring your left leg back to tabletop. And we'll do that with the right leg. So extend your right leg all the way down to the bottom of the mat. Weights evenly distributed in your hands. And then take your right foot crossed over your left leg, bringing it to the left side of the mat, outside the mat, and gently turn your head to look to the left, looking at your right toes. And then bring that leg back to tabletop. We'll do a few cat-cows. So we're going to round our back, exhaling as we go, dropping our head and our tailbone down, really stretching out that back. And then inhaling, lifting our head and tailbone up, sending our gaze straight ahead for cow. Exhale, rounding our back for cat. Inhale, lifting our head and tailbone, sending the gaze out straight for cow. And continue on with the deep inhales and exhales. Pausing at each juncture to really be aware of how your body feels. And then come back to a neutral spine, back to tabletop. For the next pose, we're going to do thread the needle, and you're invited to bring a towel or a blanket and place right behind your wrist if you like, so that you can rest your shoulder on that, make it a little bit more comfortable, a little more Hygge. So what we're going to do is come from tabletop. We're going to lift our left arm out to the side and then bring it under our torso, sweeping it over to the right side of the mat as we lower our left shoulder and our left ear down to the mat. Now with our right hand, you can either have it on the mat or have it on your hip, your back hip, or send it up to the sky. And if you send it up to the sky, just open up your chest as much as what's comfortable. And bring your right hand down if it's not already. Then gently push into the mat with your right hand, coming back up to tabletop. We'll do that on the other side. So send your right arm out, shoulder height to the right side, and then sweep it under your torsos, bringing it over to the left as you send your right shoulder and your right ear down to the mat. And again, your left hand can be on the mat or on your hip, or up in the air, opening up your chest. And bring your left hand back down to the mat and gently push in, coming back up to tabletop. We're going to send our hips to our heels. And you can bring your blanket around the back of you. And if you want to put it in between your hips and your ankles or heels, that's fine. Or we're going to do a modified hero pose. So we're going to take our fingertips and touch the tips of our toes. And if you want to have a blanket where your hands are, that'll help with the bend. Won't be quite as exaggerated, much more comfortable. And then just lean back, creating a gentle back bend. If you like, you can experiment by lifting your hips up slightly. That'll activate the tops of your thighs. Or just keep that there. Nice gentle back bend. And we'll walk our hands back. Tuck our toes under. And walk our hands back again, coming into a squat. And then gently pushing down into our toes, pads of our feet, and coming up into mountain pose. We'll do the essentials of good posture, which is also mountain pose, Tadasana. So your toes are pointing to the edge of the mat, the straight edge of the mat. We lift our toes up off the mat, spread them as much as possible, and bringing them back down to the mat. Then lift your heels up and bring your heels back down to the mat. Really feel that grounding into the earth, into the snow as it will. Just feeling grounded. Our legs are nice and straight and strong with a gentle bend in the knees. Navel's tucked to the spine. Spine is nice and tall and straight. Shoulders are relaxed and rolled back, opening up our chest. Chin is tucked ever so slightly toward our chest and creating a nice flat crown of our head. We're going to sweep our hands up with a big inhale. And exhale, bring our hands down to the mat, bending our knees as we go, tucking our navel to our spine, support our lower back, and just check in here for a moment. Just pause and replenish. Send any breath to any tension that you may have to replenish it. And then inhale, bring your hands up to your shins, flattening out your back, sending your gaze down to the floor. And then exhale, send the crown of your head down toward the floor, the forward fold. And then sweep your hands all the way up from the mat overhead. We'll come up onto our tippy toes. We'll do a few sun breaths with lifting our toes up and down. So we're on our toes, hands are stretched as high toward the sky as we can. And then exhale, bring our hands and heels back down. So our heels are on the mat now, and then we're going to sweep our hands up again, coming back up onto our tippy toes. The big inhale. Stretching our hands all the way up to the sky. Keep your gaze straight ahead so that spine is nice and long. And then exhale, bring your hands and your heels back down toward the mat. And one last time, sweep your hands up, come up onto your tippy toes, and really stretch, reaching for the sky. And then bring everything back down to the mat. We'll keep sending our hands down toward the floor, bending our knees as we go. Then inhale, bring your hands to your shins, flat back, gaze is down. And then send the crown of your head down toward the floor, forward fold. Just relax. And hang here, let gravity take over. And then we're going to bring our left hand to the floor, bending our left knee. So left hand's on the floor, left knee's bent. Right leg is as straight as is comfortable. And we're going to sweep our right hand from the floor all the way up to the sky. So forward fold with a twist. And then bring that right hand back down. Switch hands, so our right hand now is on the floor, or if you have a block that might feel better for you. So your right hand's on the floor or a block, knees bent toward your right knee's bent. And then we'll sweep our left hand all the way up overhead, and you follow your hand with your eye. And then bring your left hand back down. And then we're going to sweep both hands up and overhead. Palms come together. Palms come to heart center. And palms come to the back of your hips. So feet are about hip width apart. Fingertips are on the back of the hips, pointing down. Shoulders are relaxed and rolled back. Chin is tucked toward your chest. And just gently drop your shoulders back to the point where you find that sweet spot and pause. Listen to your breath. And then inhale, come back up. How's everyone doing? Alrighty, so we're gonna start, we do a lot of stand-up poses today. So you can turn to the right side of your mat, or whichever is comfortable for you, because this is gonna work both ways. We're coming to a wide-legged stance. So our toes, big toes are pointing to the corners of the mat. Heels are tucked in toward our torso at a 45-degree angle. You want to gently bend your knees, get that balance, and really kind of root your feet into the mat here. So just take a moment to kind of see where your knees need to be to really feel that connection with the mat. Our navel's tucked into our spine, shoulders are relaxed and rolled back. We're going to bring our hands up into a star. And then very slowly, we're going to pull that star out of the sky as we bend our knees down. Our arms are going to come to goalposts. And we're going to pause here for a moment. And then inhale, lift everything back up to the star. And stretch to the sky. And then we're going to do that 2 more times. So very slowly, bend your knees, bend your elbows. Come into goddess pose, pulling the stars from the sky. And then pause. And then bring your hands back up again into star. Reach for the sky, reaching for the stars, and then bring them back down as you slowly lower back into goddess. Have your elbows and move toward the back, bringing your shoulder blades together toward one another. And then come back up into star. And then lower your arms to shoulder height. We're going to pivot our feet to the left. And then bend our left knee, coming into warrior 2. So kind of just snuggle into that. Once you feel comfortable in warrior 2, be sure that your feet are really planted down on the mat. Maybe push down and push toward the end of the mat. It's really feeling deeply that connection to the earth. And from your waist down, really feel that tension that you are connecting with the earth. But from the waist up, try to be as light as possible. Just open your arms, maybe let them float. Gently turn your head to the left fingertips and put a smile on your lips. So we have tension from the waist down and lightness from the waist up. And then we're going to drop our right arm down to our right thigh, lifting our left arm up to warrior two. And at the same time, straighten out your front, not warrior two, to reverse warrior. Straighten out your front leg so it's straight, not bent. Sending your gaze up to your left fingertips. And then bring your left hand back down, raising your right hand back up, keeping that front leg straight. We're going to go into triangle pose. So reach forward. You may want to bring your block here if that helps you. Reach forward and then send your hands down toward your leg and slide them down to triangle pose. Sending your gaze up to your right hand. And then with right hand, have someone take it and pull you back up and come back into warrior two, bending that left leg. Again, keeping your feet nice and secure into the mat. And the top half of your body nice and light. And then we're going to bring our left forearm down to our left thigh, sweeping our right hand over, coming into extended side angle. And then bring your hand all the way down to the mat, pivoting on your back foot. We'll send the left foot back to meet the right foot, coming into plank pose. Shoulders are right above your wrists. Heels are pushing to the back of the mat. Navel's tucked and elevating your hips slightly. And then come down to the mat gently, either knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga, your preference. Then bring your hands right below your shoulders and gently lift your chin, then your chest, and come up into cobra. Elbows are tucked toward your ribs. Hips are still on the mat. And then keep pushing, bringing your hips up, coming into tabletop, and then sending your hips down to your ankles for child's pose. Arms can be extended out in front, or you can wrap them around you if you feel that's a nice, cozy position for you to be in. And then come back up to tabletop. We tuck our toes under, lift our hips up into downward dog, and pedal out here just for a few moments. Arms are nice and straight and strong. Fingers are spread wide apart. And you can grip the mat to take a little bit of pressure off your wrists in this pose. And that also builds strength in your fingers. And then gently and slowly walk your feet up to your hands, coming into a forward fold. And then sweeping your hands from the floor all the way up overhead. Palms come together. Palms come to heart center. And we'll do that again for the other side. So again, we're going to first come into wide-legged stance. So whichever side is comfortable for you to beyond. The big toes are pointing to the corners of the mat. Heels are tucked in, 45-degree angle. And just feel connected to your mat here for a moment. Trying to remember the essentials of good posture. Legs nice, straight and strong. Gentle bend in the knees. Navel's tucked to the spine. Shoulders are relaxed, roll back. And then sweep your hands up into a star. And then we're going to pull those stars down. Bending our knees, bending our arms, coming into goddess. Trying to check in on your back. See that you're not leaning forward too much, that you're leaning back. Your elbows are not in front of your torso, that they are at least in line, or if not, a little bit further back, bringing your shoulder blades together. And we'll just pause here for a moment. And then lift up, coming back up into the star. Stretching your arms up toward the sky. And then gently come back down into goddess, pulling those stars down with you. And just pause here for a moment. Take some nice deep inhales and exhales. And then stretch back up for the sky. Stretching, stretching. And then lowering back down to goddess. And pause. And then stretch back up and lower your arms to shoulder height. We're going to pivot our feet this time to the right. So our right knee is bent over our ankle for warrior two. And then as we did before, really anchor your feet into the mat, pushing down and then pushing out to the edges, really feeling that strong connection to the earth. And then from the waist up, we're just going to be light and floaty. Send your gaze to your right fingertips with a smile on your lips. And then lower your left arm down to your left thigh, raising your right hand up to the sky. And as you raise your right hand up, straighten out your front leg. And if it's comfortable, your gaze would be up to your fingertips. Or reverse warrior. Or peaceful warrior. And then bring your right hand back down. Left hand comes back up, keeping that front leg nice and straight. We're going to stretch ahead and come into triangle pose. So we're going to reach for something, like we're going to pull it off a shelf, and then lower our hand down toward our leg. Or if you have a block, that would be great. Sliding our hand down, sending our gaze up to our left fingertips. And then have someone help you, pulling that left hand back up, coming back into warrior two. Front knee is bent over the front ankle, or right knee is bent over the right ankle. And then we're going to lower our right forearm, bringing it to our right hip, sweeping our left hand over, pointing it to the top of the mat, sending that energy from the fingertips right down to our toes. And then sending our left hand down to the mat, pivoting on the back foot. We're going to bring the right foot back to meet the left foot, coming into plank pose. Shoulders are right above the wrists. Navel's tucked to the spine, elevating your hips. Heels are pushing back. And then we're going to lower down to the mat, knees, chest, chin. Or chaturanga, keeping your elbows tucked to the side. With your hands right below your shoulders, elbows tucked to your sides. And lift your chin up, then your chest, and then come up into cobra. And then keep pushing, coming up to tabletop, and then lowering your hips down to your ankles, coming into child's pose with your arms extended in front or wrapped around you. Just nice and cozy and snug. Kind of hibernating, pausing, and replenishing. Then come back up to tabletop. And we're going to come to staff pose. So from here, you can just swing your legs out to the side and bring your hips down to the mat. And come to sit on the mat in staff pose. Staff pose, your legs are nice and straight. Toes are flexed up to the sky. If you want, you can really feel your sit bones by pushing down into your fists, lifting your hips off the mat and bringing them back down. Really want to feel that connection with the earth and the ability to have a nice straight back. We're going to come in to do some rowboats. So we're going to bring our feet down to the mat, tuck our fingers underneath our knees, keeping that really nice straight back. We're going to lift our legs up off the mat and send our feet and our toes pointing toward the top of the mat. So our calves are parallel to the mat. And with our hands tucked underneath our knees, we're going to bring one toe down, bring your right toe down, tap it on the mat. Then bring your left toe down, tap it. And then bring both toes down and tap. So right toe, left toe, both toes. And we're going to continue this, but I invite you, if you'd like, to help with your core. You can release your hands from underneath your knees at any point. So you may want to alternate. So lift or releasing your hands, both tap down, and then put them back underneath. Right toe, left toe, both toes. Release your hands, right toe, left toe, both toes. Bring them back, your hands back, right toe, left toe, both toes. Release your hands, right toe, left toe, both toes. And just continue on here for a moment. And one last time, right toe, left toe, both toes. And then we're going to roll down on our back, and you can do that either express method or one vertebrae at a time with your knees bent or your knees long. So just slowly come down, bringing your hands out and back, and really stretch your hands forward and point your toes down. And then we're going to bring our knees to our chest and give that a nice gentle hug and rock your knees back and forth. Massage your lower back. And then take your toes and we'll draw some big circles with your toes. So we'll start one way. And that's a nice massage for your lower back as well. And then draw a circle the other way. And then bring your knees to your chest, give them a nice hug. And we'll go into happy baby. So you can walk your hands down your shins, coming toward your feet. And if they make it all the way to your feet, you grab on the outer edge of your feet, lifting the soles of your feet up to the sky, bending your knees down toward your shoulders. And we'll just pause and relax here. When this pose is named Happy Baby, I often think of baby bears, brown or black bears doing this. I don't know if I've ever seen a child do this, but I've seen enough photos of little baby bears or panda bears in a zoo and doing this pose. You can rock back and forth, make it your own. And then bring the soles of your feet down to the mat. And you're about hip width apart. I'm going to send our hands out to the sides at shoulder height. We'll do a few somatic windshield wipers. So our hips, our knees are about hip width apart, maybe just a little bit more, or feet rather, are hip width apart about, and maybe skosh more. Just enough to, when you bring your knees down to the floor, it feels comfortable. So on the exhale, bring your knees down to the right side. And we're going to gently turn our gaze to the left. And our left palm is going to be facing up, and our right palm is going to be facing down toward the floor. So then inhale, lift our knees back to center, and then drop them to the left side, and we're going to gently turn our head over to the right to look at our right fingertips, flipping our right hand so that it's palm up, and our left hand turns palm down. So our hands are going to be like flippers. So inhale, lifting your knees back to center, gently turning, bringing your head back to center, and then dropping to the other side, flipping your hands so that the right hand is face down, left hand is palm up. And then try to create a nice flow with that. Inhale, lifting your legs back up and lowering, gently turning your head all the while, gently flipping your hands open and then closed. We'll do that for a few moments. Do a couple more and then I'll meet you in the middle. With your knees in the middle, you can send both feet down to the corners of your mat and prepare for Shavasana. Bring your arms about 45 degrees away from your torso, palms flipped up. And just release the weight of your body into the mat. Relax your toes, relax your ankles, your knees, your hips. Really be aware of relaxing your arms. Maybe taking a few deep breaths, and on the exhalation, just really focus on releasing everything. Releasing your shoulders on the exhales. Releasing any tension in your face. And while you're there, place a gentle smile on your lips. This morning I have an excerpt from the DailyOM, which I received as an email. It's called Turning Inward During Winter. In the depths of winter, we can forget that bare trees will once again be full with foliage, and grass and flowers hidden beneath a blanket of white or a deceptive covering of hardened earth will burst forth once again. While they slumber, nature is continuing its work at the center of each living thing. We can think of our blankets and warm clothes as similar protection, like the cocoon that surrounds a changing caterpillar, while we undergo our own inner transformational work. In the meantime, the lights that twinkle and the fires that warm us can serve to remind us of the flame of life that burns within us. Nature's wisdom offers us opportunities to nourish our inner seeds of hope in preparation for our future. So let us enjoy the inner warmth and be grateful for it all.